The Leap is about giving you the ability to explore your potential so you can keep up with the fast-paced world we live in. Leap into the future with Flo's broadband packages. Turbo 10, $75. Turbo 20. Turbo 30. And introducing Turbo 100. Leap. Let's evolve as people.
This is CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for February 17th to February 20th, 2014. It was the week in which a senator declared there is no getting away from retrenchment in the public sector. Telecoms providers warned their customers to take precautions against scam calls. The IMF stopped in Grenada on its OECS tour, and the New National Party marked 1 year since its clean sweep at the polls. In sports, athletes get a feel of the grass track they will have to race on for Intercall 2014. Details when we return.
Paint it, landscape it, accessorize it, renovate it, make it yours.
Your dream home is already built and waiting for you. Grenada Cooperative Bank's Independent Special offers attractive properties in prime locations. No legal fees, no loan fees, and special discounts on interest rates. And ask about our Property Hunters Day. Call or visit us today and make it yours.
Make it yours.
Large windows, large doors, small windows, small doors. At St. Lou Metal, the size doesn't matter. You order the size you want and we make it to your specifications. If you need our new heavy-duty casement windows or half-inch impact or laminated glass or any other doors and windows, no problem. What size? Any size. You get it at St. Lou Metal. And coming soon, PVC windows and hurricane shutters. St. Lou Metal, 19 Frequente Industrial Park, powered by Grenadian Innovation.
Thanks for joining us. I am Samantha Williams-Worm. While there has been a promise of job security in the public sector by government, a parliamentarian says he believes this is just a pipe dream, as the realities of the current economic situation and trends in other countries show that this promise will be more likely not kept.
The representative for Labour in the upper house of Parliament, Senator Ray Roberts, is not convinced that government can keep its promise of no retrenchment in the public sector, at least not in the medium to long term. Senator Roberts, who was a guest on CC6's current affairs program You Decide on Wednesday, says what occurred in a neighboring island is bound to happen in Grenada, and government officials must be truthful and let the people know what is the real situation. Host Chris Diali and his guests were discussing the proposed wage freeze for public sector workers and the International Monetary Fund support for a homegrown structural adjustment program.
You asked me about natural attrition. That can achieve the goal. Let's take Barbados. 50 cents of Barbados dollar pays wages. They now under some IMF volunteer program or whatever it is, they're going to bring it down into the 40s. If we are 70, clearly the IMF not going to accept that. They're not going to give us any money, and that's going to be fooling the fools. So I'm convinced there shall be retrenchment in Grenada, Carriacou, and Pizimati, no matter what is said. It might have started already.
Trade unions have always fought to keep people employed, Mr. Roberts says, and even in the face of what is unavoidable, that would be their position.
Nobody wants retrenchment. We there to defend, and we'll fight it as much as we can. But Chris, let's face it, the government of Barbados didn't want to send home the 3,000 workers. The union, in fact, are still battling. One of the things the unions are doing now in Barbados, they have let go, they have dismissed the 3,000 workers, and in some cases, one member of a family who was working is out, and the only breadwinner in a family of 6. So the government now has to revisit some of the people that they have sent home. They may be re-employing them on a different timetable. give them another 6 months to see if they can find a job elsewhere.
He calls on the government to come clean so that workers and the rest of the nation can know and understand what is at stake.
As I said to you, I don't know that the IMF will give Grenada any special treatment that they give Jamaica. Jamaica is 30-something years under IMF. Guyana is only now coming out. So I'm saying, we're good at creating a phantom, a pie in the sky. Grenada has one problem, it's truth. Grenada has the best bramblers out, particularly the politicians.
But do you have the numbers to back up or to counter what the Prime Minister have said? I mean, we can't just work on conjecture. The Prime Minister have said that the IMF has accepted the program without retrenchment.
The Prime Minister should begin a series of meetings with public sector workers, the Senator says, so that there will be no surprises.
Grenada needs truth. We have too many people saying things that we know cannot and will not occur in this period. So Grenada needs truth from its leaders.
Beverly Sinclair, CC6 Newsnight.
How can the regional integration work to improve the economic situation in the OECS is one of the questions that is being asked as the IMF moves through the region. And the head of the group has warned that there has to be close examination of remuneration in the public sector, and some tough decisions will have to be taken.
An International Monetary Fund mission is currently going through the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to get a better understanding of the economic issues that are currently affecting the islands. The group was in Grenada on Wednesday and met with officials of the Ministry of Finance in St. George's. Head of the mission, Trevor Lean, spoke with reporters.
I'm here to do the regional consultation. In that context, we have gone to all the capitals of the OECS countries to meet with the ministers of finance as part of this discussion. The way this particular exercise differs from the more normal IMF relations is that we tend to focus on those issues that are of regional importance.
The mission is a fact-finding one, he says, and while they will be gathering information from all ministers of finance, they have some priority areas that will get key attention.
They're the same issues that Grenada as an individual country faces, which is low growth coming out of the global crisis, the issue of high debt and the need for fiscal consolidation in order to put the public finances back on a sustainable footing. And there's an issue in the region of the financial system. In particular, there's a need to strengthen the financial system in the region, and in particular, the indigenous banking system.
The OECS already has an economic union agreement, he says, and the IMF mission will be looking at how aspects of it can be used to improve the economic performance of member states.
The reality of the situation is that there are some hard decisions to be made in the region, and what we want to do is we want to discuss with the country authorities a path towards getting the countries back on a strong, sustainable footing. That may mean some short-term sacrifice. It may mean, not business as usual, doing things a lot differently. But, the status quo is not sustainable. And therefore, changes in terms of policies and policy directions are going to be needed.
All findings will be presented to the IMF board, he says, and in about 2 months, recommendations will be made to the various governments on the best way to move forward. Sherry Ann Noel, CC6 Newsnight.
The first year of the new national party's governing of the country was observed on Wednesday with a news conference facilitated by the members of the organization. And they say while there is still a long way to go, they are happy with what have been achieved so far.
Wednesday marked 1 year since the Keith Mitchell-led New National Party made a clean sweep in the 2013 general elections, and officials of the party say they have overcome major challenges during that time and have made inroads where it counts. At a news conference at the party's headquarters on Wednesday, Public Relations Officer of the party, Terence Forrester, says the vision the NMP had for Grenada prior to the election still exists.
That vision is to have an educated, productive, and prosperous society for all in Grenada. Unity and inclusiveness have been the pillar of our campaign. And we have gone from the length and breadth of Grenada, speaking unity, speaking inclusiveness, because we see this vision as the only way forward to move our country. We must unite all of our people as we move forward.
Chairman of the party, Gregory Bowen, says they have achieved a lot during the last 365 days on the new administration.
We have stabilized the financial situation and we have restored Grenada's standing with respect to investment and work in the country. That, in year one, is a great achievement. All of the projects mentioned can fit within this ambit, within this framework of the restoration of Grenada to where it was some 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago.
Former campaign manager Senator Kenny Lalsing says the government is on the right track as it strives to bring the country's economy back.
We have a number of projects that have started and will continue, and new ones will be started. So, we want to say to you, we are on track, we are speaking to investors, we are going to get the projects going, we are going to manage the economy properly to make sure that whatever we do is in the interest of Grenada. And it is not about how much money you get, but it's what we do with it. And this government is committed to doing the country justice by taking the right decisions.
The party says it will not hold any major events to celebrate its first year in office as the country continues to struggle in the tough economic times. Janelle Andrews, CC6 Newsnight.
When we return, safety and security high on the agenda for first intercall in the cricket stadium.
You want your loved ones around to celebrate, especially those living far. And with Digicel Top-Up, Dad can help you bring life to the party and be part of the celebration. Ask him to send you Digicel Minutes. Receive free instant additional credit. And stay connected here and there. Ask your family abroad to send Digicel Minutes today.
The Leap is about giving you the ability to explore your potential, so you can keep up with the fast-paced world we live in. Leap into the future with Flo's broadband packages. Turbo 10, $75. Turbo 20, Turbo 30, and introducing Turbo 100. Leap, let's evolve as people.
Breeze removes stains in the first wash. The other detergents, not always. You have to wash it all again and use twice the amount. So, which one costs more? Do the math. Choose Breeze. Unbeatable stain removal.
Welcome back. Information technology has provided opportunities for dishonest people to try and take money from customers of established telecoms providers. And while this is not new in the digital marketplace, advice is now being given on how to avoid becoming a victim of this unscrupulous practice.
Telephone customers across all networks are being warned not to fall victims to scams that can significantly increase the cost of their bills. This warning has come from National Telecommunications Regulatory Authority and service providers Flo, Digicel, Ielscom and Lime. Representatives of all companies hosted a news conference on Monday and outlined what customers should be aware of to avoid being scammed. Country Manager of Digicel, Patricia Ma, describes what customers should be looking for.
There is currently a rash of text messages and other methods of encouraging unsuspecting customers to make calls to high-cost international destinations such as satellite numbers. You'll recognize these numbers because they're very long. These take the form of SMS messages purporting to be from a trusted source, such as your network provider, advising you to call an unfamiliar number urgently to receive an emergency message or indeed win a prize.
Coordinator of the NTRC, Alwyn Ferguson, says while there are laws in place to govern their work, customers must be vigilant to protect themselves.
When somebody returns a call in response to those scammers, if I may call them that way, it is unknown as to where these calls terminate. In other words, you are calling back, you think you're calling back a Grenada number and hoping that it might terminate in Grenada is not necessary so.
Country manager of Flow, Gail Purcell, says while her company does not provide mobile services, people may choose to use their landline to return these calls and risk spiking their bills.
Encourage customers to be vigilant. Take a look at the messages you're receiving. Pay attention to the details. Think about who it's coming from. Do you know this individual? Do you know this person? What is the likelihood of this being a very genuine situation? And if you don't know the number, maybe you make the choice not to return the call.
President of mobile service provider Ilescom, Dave George, says an investigation is currently underway to determine how their numbers were used in the scam.
Back in January, some of our numbers were mentioned in the news. It turned out that none of those numbers were assigned to any of our customers here in Grenada. None of the calls that were mentioned originated on our network or terminated onto our network. So we're still investigating what happened back in December, January timeframe.
Mobile telephone customers have been reporting receiving these spam messages that invite the recipient to call back since as far back as last June. The NTRC and service providers are, however, warning customers not to fall victim as the scam is not being perpetrated from the local networks and the high cost to call back these numbers will be reflected in their bills. Janelle Andrews, CC6 Newsnight.
The new chairman of the Grenada Principals Association, Dominic Jeremiah, says security will be high on the agenda for the 2014 Inter-Secondary School Games, which is to be held at the National Cricket Stadium next month.
The Inter-Secondary School Games will be held at a new venue in St. George on April 9th and 10th, the National Cricket Stadium, due to the reconstruction of the National Athletic Stadium. The Athletic Stadium has been in disrepair since the passage of Hurricane Ivan on September 7, 2004, and the Chinese have commenced work on rebuilding the facility, a project which is expected to last 2 years. On Saturday, Chairman of the Principals Association, Dominic Jeremiah, spoke with CC6 Newsnight about the association's plan for the country's largest athletic event.
What we did, we started to put structures in place very early. The Ministry of Sports, the Grenada Athletic Association, and all those other bodies who have been partners with the Principals Association over the years. We have started our conversation. As a matter of fact, our conversation started since October, November last year.
The issue of security and safety of the students in the stands they will be allowed to occupy was raised with Mr. Jeremiah, although he says he believes they will be made to occupy only the lower stands.
Well, some of those questions are logistical questions, and we have a logistics committee that is already put together, and very soon we'll begin to look at some of those issues before we make any public pronouncement as to how the students are going to be arranged at Intercol.
The Principals Association's chairman says he believes his team will be able to execute the game smoothly and with a high level of control.
We have had 2 principals meeting to deal specifically with Intercol already. And the vibes that I'm picking up on the ground, so to speak, is that things are going to be okay. Of course, we're going to need the support of the general public as usual. The police is one of our partners. And of course, parents and all those who have contributed to make Intercol a success in the past, we would be counting on them to give their usual support.
The question of insurance for the stadium was also posed to Mr. Jeremiah.
In the Stadium Authority, they have been one of our partners in the past, even when we were in the old track and field stadium. And there are certain things that we would have to do to ensure that, as we have always done over the years, to ensure that patrons and athletes are, are properly cared for.
The Stadium Authority is working with us, and it is my hope that all the structures will be put in place to cover that.
A press conference is in the planning stage to inform the nation about plans for the Games. Sherry-Ann Noel, CC6 Newsnight.
Hollis Map, Mr. Killer, the Grenadian soca artist who is one of the finalists in the International Soca Monarch competition, spoke with CC6 Newsnight about his journey to becoming one of the favorites going into the highly anticipated event later this month.
Hollis Map, Mr. Killer has indeed made a name for himself and country in the Trinidad market and internationally with his hit tune Roly Poly. The song was produced for Spice Mass 2013, but the artist did not participate in any competition. He is now one of the finalists in the International Soca Monarch competition in Trinidad to challenge soca greats Marshall Montano and Super Blue for the title come Fantastic Friday, February 28th. Mr. Killer spoke with CC6 Newsnight via telephone from Trinidad on Tuesday.
This moment in the season, I mean, the song is the biggest thing I think you could think about on the streets in Trinidad and Tobago. It has become a household name. I come also a household name in Trinidad and Tobago and accepted immediately by the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The song spreading, I mean, worldwide now. Places like Jamaica, they're accepting it and stuff now. Trinidad, this song a whole different level of love.
Killer, who has been making appearances at various fetes in Trinidad, says he is going into the Soca Monarch as one of the favorites.
Because this is a whole different level, a whole different level. This is a $2,000 presentation or $50,000 presentation. You're talking about presentation that coming from people like Marshall Montano and one of these people, you know, about 300 to 400, even 500. Well, Marshall presentation last year almost was $1 million.
Right now, he's working extremely hard, he says, to ensure that Spice Country is well represented come Fantastic Friday.
I don't think my people or people in there do really understand how important it is to support your own and how different the sports and the culture, the music, you understand, can market our island and take us to a whole different heights, a whole different level. I am Trinidad, and Trinidad is celebrating my victory for my 1 million views on national television and all that, and every media, every single newspaper you could search Trinidad for the past month. I am either on the front page or have a huge article in there about me. You understand? And I mean, this is whole different, their whole different embrace. You know, and I wish that people actually see, you understand, that whole life.
Mr. Killer says despite the challenges, he will be going all out to do himself and country proud. Sherry-Ann Noel, CC6 Newsnight.
Coming up in Sports on 6, teams shine at the start of annual netball tournament.
The Leap is about giving you the ability to explore your potential, so you can keep up with the fast-paced world we live in. Leap into the future with Flow's broadband packages.
Turbo 10, $75. Turbo 20. Turbo 30.
And introducing Turbo 100. Leap, let's evolve as people.
Life in Grenada. Aye, we have the spice, we have the flavor. I'm sorry that you're sorry, but sorry's not so good enough for me, baby. I'm sorry that you're sorry, but sorry can't dry my tears, lady. And each time we try, you come with your same story. Now you're sorry, but I'm sorry cause I can't accept a apology.
Live on Community Channel 6 every Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's Sound System Saturday.
Welcome back. Harmony between two schools in the parish of St. George was evident at the National Cricket Stadium on Saturday for their annual athletic sports meet.
The athletes of St. Joseph's Convent St. George and Presentation Brothers College blazed the track in unison in the various houses of the two schools, displaying their many talents. Here is a look at what happened on the track.
Off and running, level break. Finn Bahout has the lead on the far side, but it seems to be Rashad Ball on the near side, coming away to win it in from Aquina now. It's Rashad Ball close for second between the Dominican athletes as they cross the line. Off this time, level break. Javwe House has the lead on the far side from that's Xavier. Joseph is running well, but it's Xavier House is leading. Strong run coming on the far side now from Joseph. Joseph on the line takes it from Marian. Very close to a third. They underset the button, they off. Good start. Javwe House is leading on the far side. Marian House is running strong, but it's all Javwe running away. Excellent formation by the athlete from Xavier. She crosses the line very easily. Marian in second position, followed by Xavier's House.
But in the end, Marian House Blue took the top spot for SJC, amassing a total of 614 points. Javwe's House Green finished second with 531 points. Joseph Yellow House finished third with 482, and Xavier Red brought up the rear with 467 points. For the PBC boys, Finbar House Yellow emerged victorious with 428 points. Aquinian Red was second with 357. Patrician Blue placed third with 292 points. And Dominican Green was fourth with 259 points. Two of the more outstanding athletes from SJC and PBC were Melanie Rodney and Aaron Dragon.
The couple of years I was out, well, I felt, not like Melanie Rodney. But to see that I came back here 2014 and broke a record, I'm feeling very proud.
Right now it's just to go back to the drawing board and look for ways to improve myself and to, make it a better time. Just basically to do better.
Both schools are hoping to deliver good performances at the 2014 Intercall Games carried for April.
The 2014 GUT Credit Union Margaret Dow Netball Tournament got off to a fine start with a parade of participating teams from Queen's Park St. George onto the River Road hard court.
The tournament, which has grown into one of the most talked about events on the island this year, features 12 teams competing in 2 divisions for the 2014 titles. Following the parade, a short opening ceremony was held featuring several speakers, including a representative of Parliamentary Representative for the town of St. George, Nicholas Steele, who was not present for the opening, and Marketing Officer from the sponsors GUT Credit Union, Marcus Bursell.
We sponsored the tournament for the first year, and we continue to do so until this year, and we are proud to be associated with this tournament because we realize that we have a responsibility not only to our members in terms of doing business and making surpluses for them, but also to the community in which we operate.
Coordinator of Sports in the Ministry of Sports, Conrad Francis, also addressed the gathering.
It goes to show the importance that the ministry puts into community sports. In fact, we have embarked on a community sports program for 2014 because we believe that this is the way forward. We believe that tournaments like these is where you unearth talent. Apart from the advantages of helping to build community spirit, also to have fun, but we believe here is where children get to learn to play netball.
The first pass for the opening match between Down the Road Strikers and Anglican High School was made by Margaret Dow, patron of the tournament. That game was won by Strikers 31-18 over HS. Defending champion Logos Jetsstars also got off to a victorious start, winning the second game of the evening over Monkrush Motions 26-18. The junior division title is held by Anglican High School.
That's all we have for you in Sports on 6. We recap the headlines next. Recapping the headlines, it was the week in which a senator declared that there is no getting away from retrenchment in the public sector. Telecoms providers warned their customers to take precautions against scam calls. The IMF stopped in Grenada on its OECS tour, and the New National Party marked 1 year since its clean sweep at the poll. In sports, athletes get a feel of the grass track they will have to race on for Intercall 2014. That brings us to the end of CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for February 17th to February 20th, 2014. Top stories from CC6 Newsnight can also be seen on our Facebook page, Flow Community Channel 6. On behalf of the news team, I'm Samantha Williams-Worm, thanking you for joining us.